All right, Chelsea fans, welcome back to another episode. That's right, of the London is Blue podcast. Hopefully your favorite Chelsea podcast out there and a part of the Men in Blazers Media Network. Dan, one of your hosts here alongside Nick. A little London is Blue live. That's right, we are in Atlanta at this point. It is very late on Monday evening after we've had a chance to see Chelsea win their first match of the Club World Cup against LAFC, known giants of MLS, absolute legends in what they are. Chelsea get the business done on the day in Atlanta, in very, very hot Atlanta on the day. Boy, oh boy, a match to maybe not remember beyond this point in time, but Chelsea did get it done. We're going to go through a couple of the things that we observed while we were in the stands at the match. A couple of things we liked from the players that we saw today, a few things that we have some question marks around related to how Chelsea decided to play, how they're deciding to set up, and then what we want to see more of in the coming matches, knowing that Chelsea are going to be back in action this coming Friday. So Chelsea have a quick turn as it relates to this. But Nick, we were in Atlanta. We had a good time with the Atlanta Blues, the Georgia Blues, with everybody we saw out and about both the day before the match and then also at Stats Brew Pub at our London is Blue live event brought to you by Mick Ultra. We had a really good time.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it's obviously, it's a Monday. And I don't begrudge anyone for not coming to party on a Monday, but there were a ton of Chelsea fans out for this one. I know we'll talk about the attendance, we'll talk about the stadium, all that sort of stuff. But
it looked kind of empty on TV.
If you could have been at Stats Brew Pub, that was not the case at all. It was chock-a-block full of all sorts of Chelsea fans. Lovely to see everyone, some old friends, some new friends, and we were just happy to dine and commune with everyone, have a few beers, and share stories. And again, this is what it's all about. So for everyone who came by and said hello, it was kind of an informal gathering. We weren't doing like a full blown show like we're going to do in Philadelphia. Just really appreciate it. Thanks to Stats Brew Pub for hosting and taking care of everyone all night. I know it was a huge amount of rush to get everyone through the door and all that sort of stuff too. But really great time and glad to have done it. And now we're off to new adventures.
We are off to new adventures. Just a reminder, this again is the match review for our first Club World Cup match against LAFC. Just a couple of quick highlights as it relates to it. 2 goals on the day, one from Pedro Neto in the 34th minute, and then Enzo Fernandez beautifully taken goal in the 79th minute. If you're picking one of the two as a favorite, Nick, which goal did you like more?
The Neto goal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because I think aesthetically it is similar to one of the goals that we scored against Newcastle last year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Ball kind of goes out wide. It's played into Nico Jackson. Mm-hmm. Nico Jackson does his best Cole Palmer impersonation, sprays the ball long to Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto takes it on a one-touch, cuts it back, slots it home near post. I think it's a beautiful goal, and it does kind of show the passing range of multiple players in that movement too. So I really enjoyed that one.
Man, I'm so on the other side of this with you.
Shock.
Not a surprise. Apparently, someone caught us in the stands on the broadcast feed and sent us a copy of the screenshot. And it is very much the diametrically opposed situation of this podcast where Nick is very much looking, I'm going to say grumpy is probably the nice word to define.
Little RBF for sure.
Yeah.
Little RBF.
And I'm just looking up at the screen like a dumb idiot. And I don't know if that's exactly how it should be, but it does feel as if that captures the full podcast experience here. I'm going to say the second goal only because you get the Cole Palmer layup to Delap. That was a beautiful pass that he threaded there. And then Delap laying it into the running and crashing into the box of a number 8 for Chelsea Football Club. I will never get tired of a number 8 midfielder for Chelsea Football Club running into the box and scoring a goal. The way that he got it down and took it, didn't get fussed in the moment. It could have gone off so many wrong ways, but boy, oh boy, Enzo got it done.
Yeah, we were talking about this at the pub, and I think it's kind of funny because I think people look at everyone was talking about the lap and the assist and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, yeah, Nico also had an assist on the day and was like, I think very good. We'll talk about that. And I think people are, we get through the transfer season. We've done 11 of these now, right? Well, actually, 22 of them if you count the January window. I would rather not.
What about the exceptional window? Do you count the window, the special window too?
The window before the window?
Yeah.
No, I definitely do. And I think everyone's just excited for new at this point. And so while I think both players kind of did similar things and like made similar runs, I think people are really excited to see a new face. And it's natural. Like I totally understand why that is. And frankly, I'm excited to see Asugo get some minutes today. I'm excited to hopefully see Andre Santos get some minutes, probably against Tunis now in the third match of the tournament. Although I don't really know what's going to happen with him. But I think there's always just a yearning to see new and different. And so, I think just candidly from our pub chats, hashtag pub chats, we are, I kind of heard some of the similar lines, which is, man, that Liam Delap is great. He's so direct. And it's like, yeah, he is. I think he had a good little cameo for sure. I think Nico did some really good stuff too.
I think on the day, both of our strikers had a nice day out. In just some top line stats to go over it. So we had 65% of the possession relative to the 35% for LAFC. We had 2 big chances. There 1. We had 17 total shots. There 7. 4 goalkeeper saves. There 3. 11 fouls apiece. Either we don't even talk about how bad the officiating was. It was
clown show.
Pretty awful.
Absolute clown show.
6 of our 17 shots were on target. 4 of their 7 were. We hit the woodwork once. We had 3 shots off target. 8 block shots. 11 of our shots came from inside the box, and then 6 came from outside the box. I mean, I would say in general, that first 45 was a little rough to watch because it felt like the return from an extended international break where Chelsea have gone out to play. They're getting back into speed. Some of these players maybe have not fully played as much or as recently as other players have. I mean, obviously we know that Enzo's played recently, Caicedo's played recently, and we see Nani Madueke play recently in the England game that he had. So not everyone has had a ton of minutes between the end of the last season and now. And this is someone like Pedro Neto comes in, having recently played, for Portugal and winning another tournament. Like it felt like some players were a little fresher, and it created this interesting setup in the first 45 minutes where you had some players who looked completely on it, and you had some players who looked completely off. And, to me, even looking at like the sofa scores on it for the starting lineup, which maybe we'll talk about that first. The starting lineup was not what you expected in any way, shape, or form. And just to review who that is, it was Rob Sanchez between the sticks, it was Mark Cucurella, Levi Colwell, Tosin, and Reece James in the back line, Moises Caicedo and Lavia, and then Nani Madueke, Cole Palmer, Neto, and Nico Jackson. It was as strong as I thought it was going to be. The only thing I thought might happen was the Liam Delap switch out, but otherwise, and maybe Enzo starting over Lavia, but I thought in general, this is kind of what I expected to see. I know you were on the exact opposite side, though, of what you thought was going to happen with this lineup.
Yeah. Do you want to know why I'm the exact opposite?
Because you don't view the Club World Cup as the prestigious competition as it is, with its own theme song, Nick.
Okay. Actually, that's really where we should start this. The halftime was just a fascinating adventure. They debuted this Club World Cup theme song, which had a lot of like 80s, 90s vibes. There was a guy in a blazer with no shirt, and the song was very impossible to really understand because the music behind it was so loud. It was hard to hear the words. There's a lot of na 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 in there, so that was tough. But the reason why I am considering like what these lineups should look like and how Chelsea should navigate the Club World Cup, we talked about it on Monday's show. The Premier League starts 2 months from today.
Mm-hmm.
Casual, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
But other leagues start in 2 months too, right? It's not a Chelsea specific issue.
I cannot speak to other teams' fitness, though.
Okay.
And I can't speak to the other leagues' preseason regimen. I can't speak to how much rest they're going to give players.
Okay.
All I know is Chelsea Football Club are going to take this seriously now. I have no doubt we're going to play our starters throughout the entire tournament after today. Like I think this is going to be 7 matches if we make it all the way to the final of pure starters playing. I don't think Enzo Maresca trusts his team, and I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of subs out.
I mean, would you argue though that he trusts his starters, but he doesn't trust these new individuals who come into the team? I think maybe that's the way I would frame it a little differently. Is that he trusts his, hey, I have played with Nico Jackson now for a full season. I've played with Nani Madueke for a full season. I don't know if I can trust necessarily going to, even though he knows Liam Delap, to let him start all these matches, or to go to someone like Penders and let Penders have a game necessarily just yet.
The money is there. They want to go get the money. That is very clear at the end. And the worry part is for me, because I did some math before the show, because everyone was trying to chew me alive on Twitter for suggesting that we should have subs come into the match somehow.
Is this a soft launch of Opta Nick? Because I don't know if I can take this in the moment. It's way too late on a Monday night.
Opta Nick did some very rudimentary math for everybody. Cole Palmer's played 44 of the 57 total matches in the season, not counting today's match, so 58. So he's actually 45 out of 58. 3,600 minutes. Caicedo, 42 matches played, 43 matches played, including today, roughly 3,900 minutes. Enzo Fernandez, 45 matches played, roughly 3,600 minutes. Cucurella, 49, including today, 49 of the 58 matches, roughly 3,900 minutes. Pedro Neto, 45 matches played, roughly like 3,100 minutes. He's less because he rotated a little bit more throughout the season. And so did some of the other players. I didn't do Levi Colwell, but I'm sure Levi Colwell would be in the 3,500 mark because he played a lot of the matches this year. And I don't know their personal fitness. What I do know is that Chelsea have had a just horrific injury record over the last 3 seasons. And if we do not figure out a way to rest these guys, they're just not going to be ready for the Premier League. And 2 years ago, we started slow in the Premier League and came up short. And I would rather personally give it a go in the Premier League and be ready for the start of the season than like feel like we have to play our starters every game to make it. The other thing I'd say from Opta Nick here, LAFC are essentially 13th out of 28 in the MLS. They're like midway through the table. I think they're 5th in the West, and I think they qualify. There are 8 teams better than them in the East. It's roughly 13th, but they don't do it that way. But whatever. They're not particularly good. They have some like talented players. Like Bouanga is a really talented player, and he, I think did give us fits occasionally in this one. But they're not at our level. I think The Athletic ranked them 23rd out of 32 teams in this tournament.
Okay.
So, that's another thing. I'm just looking at this and going, where are the opportunities for rest? Because if you don't do it now, it's not going to happen. Because every time you progress, you're not going to take a chance to sub in players. So I just don't think it's going to happen now.
Well, at this point, the way to do it is if you beat Flamengo on Friday, you would have then 6 points. You beat the other at this point in time, the winner, another winner. So you would put yourself in a position to have 6 total points. You would imagine that they're going to maybe be a little more challenged to, match your point total then. And so you could kind of win with the group with a draw. And so there is some flexibility to rotate within these, options. And we did see some of that today, right? If we kind of look at some of the subs that Chelsea, had in this match, we did see Reece James come off at halftime from Malo Gusto. We see Enzo Fernandez come in, for Romeo Lavia. I mean, so
those two are like continuations of the season, though, right? I mean, that makes sense,
right? I mean, but
you're taking like 2 historically injured players, and you're saying, hey, we're not going to risk you too much, right? Because we don't want you to continue down the injury pathway. Those subs were like, they make total sense to me.
Yeah, I guess if you're trying to look at it like, hey, what 1 or 2 other players? Because like again, it's not a competition where it's not a. I think that we have to build off of this framework that this is not like the extended preseason. This is a competitive tournament that Chelsea are playing in, that another 32 teams are playing in. Again, as I remind you, it's hashtag take on the world, and there's only one world champion within this. It's a very important thing to consider. You can't have a completely rotated type of situation here in terms of every match that you're going to play.
I'd argue it is the best possible preseason. Here's why. Chelsea we've taken 2 seasons off the Champions League. We had a rest. We didn't compete in that.
No. We made sure that we could complete the European set.
Yes.
Got ourselves into the Europa Conference League and won it.
Spin that PR, Dan. But we have not played. I don't think we have played, and I don't know if you would agree with this. I don't think we have played your PSGs. I don't think, we obviously play Man City a few times a year, Liverpool a few times a year, Arsenal a few times a year. But there are teams in this tournament that we could very well see in next year's Champions League.
Sure.
And I think it's a great preseason tournament. I understand what you're saying, which is these are not friendlies.
Yeah.
And that is a completely and utterly fair point. But at the same point, when you're on a 60-day, now 59-day countdown to the team having to be ready, and the Champions League being this new format, you're going to play more of those games. What I really, really do worry about are the players and the fitness and the time off they're going to get to rest and recuperate after a really long year. Team played 58 matches. Right? Conference League was actually 15 of those matches.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have new players who are, while this tournament is going on, we're going to buy new players, right? So like trying to bed in everyone is going to be a really difficult thing when you have I think the match schedule that we have. So again, I now anticipate after seeing the lineup today, and yes, congratulations, you were correct on the starting 11.
Very often.
Correct. Yep. Good. Awesome. Super hope it doesn't backfire. That's my number one worry. And to be honest, the starting 11 didn't play that well today, Dan, against the 13th best MLS team and the 23rd out of 32 ranked team in the tournament. And to me, that would inspire some worry for Friday, because I think Flamengo are better than LAFC.
I mean, LAFC has played competitive matches more recently than Chelsea have.
I mean, it's 2 weeks away.
It's 2 weeks. Over 3 weeks.
2 weeks. Come on. We just finished on May 28th. It's June 16th.
You got to give a little credence to the fact.
It's not like we've been off for 3 months.
I understand that. I just...
Come on.
Couch a little bit of the understanding as we're sitting on a couch here and trying to kind of walk through the challenges that this team has, getting kind of back up, getting firing, getting going. Again, not the most competitive match, not the most exciting. LAFC definitely wanted to put Chelsea in a situation where they had to have the ball, that they had to force it through. So like that is not necessarily how this Chelsea team has played extremely well over the last season in breaking down those type of teams and those type of sides. So it was the get back into understanding this and seeing how we play. Because, I mean, there were good performances, right? Pedro Neto had, I think on the day, had a really good performance. Nico Jackson had a good performance. You look at, Delap as a cameo. I think had a good performance.
Solid. Yep.
Enzo Fernandez, really strong performance on the day.
Yep.
So like, there were good performances within this type of situation. I think your challenge around this whole narrative of how did Chelsea prepare for next season while also playing in this tournament, have a preseason, and get this team across the line in the next year, it is a bunch of spinning plates at the moment.
It's walking an incredibly fine tightrope. And look, they could very well do it. And my worry I will not talk about it after the show. I will not make mention of it. I don't care who starts. I don't care who comes in the rest of the tournament. I will just be very pleased that they all, survive this tournament and don't get injured, if that is indeed the way it happens. But you're talking about spinning plates. I'm talking about walking a fine line here, because I mean, dude, there was a moment in this game where Marc Cucurella came up limping and Moises Caicedo was down holding his knee. And I think every Chelsea fan in that building was like, what? Like, you could argue our two most irreplaceable players in those positions, because we have more up front. That if Palmer went down, I get he's our best player, obviously. But like, Cucurella goes down, Caicedo goes down. I mean, I just... It scares the shit out of me, dude. It really does.
I mean, how few minutes are you expecting them to play? Would you not play them at all?
No, I 100% would play them. Okay. I just think that your 45-minute swaps are like you have a starting 11 and then you have 5 subs.
Yeah.
And I think the way you deploy those 5 subs says a lot about the way that you vision this tournament versus how you want to start the year.
Okay.
And because, I mean, these guys are also just coming off of international football, too. I mean, Caicedo just got back. I know he's a warrior. I know that if Enzo Fernandez, if Enzo Maresca goes to any of these guys and says, hey, do you want to play this game? They're all going to say, yes, of course they are. That's their mentality.
Well, I mean, they get individual walkouts. I mean, it's a very important thing.
Can we talk about the walkouts?
Look, if you're going to do an individual walkout for a player, there has to be a stinger.
You should get your own individual jam, and maybe a little dance. Do you think they should come out to a dance?
They have to do a dance, but
I think a dance would be.
It's just like walking up to the plate in baseball, where they should give them their own music.
What I like about the NBA when they do it is they all get high five. They all have different high fives on the way out. I think there could be like a high five line.
Yeah.
Maybe Johnny Infantino could be out there and like dap them all up with special daps.
No, we're not doing that.
Well, I show speed. He's doing that.
Yeah, that's not.
Do you think speed should come out and race everyone out to
No, we shouldn't do that.
What about all these marketing ploys, Dan? I'm coming up with some good stuff here for this.
Well, we're going to transition off to a different conversation here.
Come on.
So, of the players we liked on the day, who were you excited about to see more of in the next coming games here based upon how they played?
Christopher Nkunku, and let me tell you why.
Please, give you a serious question, you take in the most serious.
We didn't think that we'd see him at all.
This is true.
Come on, admit you were surprised.
I was very shocked when he was subbed on. Yes, along with basically every other one of the 5 Chelsea fans in the stands. Yes, I was very, very shocked.
I think the player that I thought had a really good game that I just wanted to talk about was Neto. Mm-hmm. I think the pass to get the goal, it's a great goal. I love that sort of direct in behind turn and pass and score football. I just thought it was a great goal. But there was also little stuff that he did in this game that I thought was, it's just a continuation of where he's kind of been developing.
Yeah.
I get that he's not everyone's cup of tea, and I might be on Mick Verlaney Island for this take, but like I really do think that there's some class in there. I think where in moments where we were struggling, because LAFC really just put 10 players in the box and defended against us. Like that was their mission. They did a very good job of it, to be fair to them. I mean, I again, if I was an LAFC fan today, I'd feel pretty damn good about that performance, candidly. Mm-hmm. But I think there were when you're playing against that setup, like, you have to be really technical in between the lines. And I thought that there was a lot that I saw from Nico Jackson that made me excited about that. And then when we get on the break, like his speed is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like he can really stretch his legs and get out there. And so, yeah, I don't know. I kind of found that to be a good performance. And I think, if you want to talk about Liam Delap and what you saw from him, I think they have contrasting styles a little bit, right? Because Liam's a little bit more direct, get up the field mm-hmm. sort of vibes. And it was a great pass into Enzo.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first couple of touches for Liam Delap were a little rough, in just terms of like playing it over. Though what I like seeing was, I think it was the second touch he had on the ball where one of the LAFC defenders kind of was trying to drag him to the ground. And he basically was like nah, dog, I'm not going down to the ground with you, shrugging him off type of thing, which we have had some strikers in the recent history who have really struggled to stay up in the Premier League. That is not going to be a problem for Liam Delap. Like, Liam Delap is not going to go to ground very, very easy, very early. And so I think that was a nice thing to see kind of across this. I mean, he was 6 for 8 on accurate passes. He had only 14 total touches, 2 key passes, had the 1 cross for the accurate one. And then also he created that big chance for Enzo because he put it right on top of him there. He didn't win any of his ground duels. So it was 0 for 3 on ground duels in the day. Was offside once to 2 fouls and then lost possession 5 times. So again, he was a little heavy touch in the way that he was playing today. But in terms of combination and making runs and making himself available, he was definitely trying to find the right channels. I mean, you saw him kind of like just trying to guide other players to him and around him. So that, like, whether it was Lavia, whether it was Cucurella, like people who were getting forward had an outlet to put the ball into. It was just more a matter of like, how is he getting into pace? How is he getting back up to speed? How is he going to connect with his team? I think there's a large platform there for him to be successful. Yeah. It's just a matter of that. This is, again, the first 30 minutes or so that we've seen Liam Delap. First 30 minutes we saw him in a Chelsea shirt. I think people were very excited in the stands when we had
got a huge round of applause.
Yeah. Huge round of applause for him. So I think there's plenty that we'll get to see from Liam Delap. I will say, what did take a big beating today was the golden boot type of element when we had no goals from either of our recognized strikers, but they decided to both get assists.
2 assists? Come on.
I would love for it to be the inverse. I would love for them to be scoring the goals. I think that would be something that would be fantastic to see, transition into the next game against Flamengo. But ultimately, if they're getting involved in the attack and other people are contributing, that is something that we can kind of hang our hat on and be very, very positive about.
I just want the ball to go in the back of the net more. I genuinely don't care who does it. I would love for there to be some parity in the team, and I really do want Liam and Nico to fight it out for who's the best.
Yeah,
because I think we will be far more better off at the end of the year if they're really competing and maybe Liam takes it for a few matches and then Nico has a really great week of training and then comes back and starts scoring goals. And like we've just seen, Chelsea teams back in the day, I think back to the Drogba and Elka combinations where they were both so damn good they had to play together because it was silly not to play both of them. They were both putting the ball in the back of the net. So, and that was a team that won a Premier League title, right? So there was someone I was thinking about that team today. But there's so many great jerseys out at the bar, and we were like, some guy came with the 09-10 with the little red collar, and I was like, man, that just reminds me of Nico Anelka. That's like the person I think about with that shirt.
Got John D with the Bala kit that he got for Father's Day.
Oh, sexy! That thing is unbelievable. Yeah, his kids got him the white with the faint gray
Samsung
stripes.
Mobile, yeah.
Oh, beautiful with the very Adidas lettering on the back. Just
there's great kits out today. Additionally, the $30 kits for this season that you could buy in and out of the stadium there, which looks very legitimate in terms of their production.
You giving them a plug, Dan? Trying to help their business?
I mean, they're helping their own business. So we talked about a couple players that we liked on the day. Anyone that you want to see more of after like an initial hit? You're like, hey, we saw him for a few minutes, but maybe I want to see a little bit more of them heading into the next match. Please don't say Nkunku again. Just don't take the troll option. Be the bigger man.
I really want to though. It's
You're not gonna talk about your guy?
I mean, Dario Sugo?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna see a lot of him in this tournament now. I don't.
He's got number 14, man. That's a legitimate squad number.
It's a huge squad number. Yeah. I mean, I think he's probably going to come in the last like 10, 15 minutes for Caicedo. And I don't know what you're going to really be able to tell from that. It's kind of where my head is. I think that, the squad is basically what we saw today. There might be opportunities in the future for like a Josh to come in and play back. If Gusto goes over and covers for Cucurella, I think it's probably the best option that we have in this current squad. I hope to God we see Andre Santos. I don't know right now because I think if Lavia and Enzo Fernandez are kind of swapping, 45-minute chunks or 60-30s, I just don't know where Andre will get to play. And that bumps me out quite a bit. Otherwise, like, I don't really see, like, I think this is pretty much the squad. Like I was glad to see Tyreek George get some minutes. He didn't have a great game necessarily. But, I think that's okay. And, I think I just hope Mal Gusto regains some sort of form because, again, there's just some.
The Gusto one was tough. I think he did not look. He got cooked a couple of times on the runs, which was very unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
I think seeing a little bit more Ty would be great. I think getting an opportunity to see Josh. I know, obviously, you're very disappointed that we didn't get a chance to see any of Andre Santos today. I don't think that this is going to persist throughout the entirety of the Club World Cup tournament.
5 subs, and if you play your starting line, I mean, there's just only so many spots.
Only so many permutations on the team for who will get involved. What does that look like? I mean, very much so clear to me. I think we will only see Rob Sanchez start games here unless we win out both here too. We feel really good heading into this game, and maybe we see Jorgensen or someone just to keep him fresh. That whole, like, maybe we see Penders play. I don't think that's happening.
0% chance. Yeah. No. I mean, I think what I learned today that this team is going to have a huge gamble this summer and play all the starters. Mm-hmm. And that is going to be something we either look back on and say, wow, brilliant, we won the tournament. And we now have 100 million extra pounds to play with and we're very excited. Or we are going to go, boy, that gamble backfired for 100 reasons and we feel worse heading into the season. So we'll see. And God willing, it's the former, not the latter.
All right. So Chelsea match is Friday. It's against Flamengo. It's in Philadelphia. We'll be there. We'll be there Thursday, the night before, during our live podcast with our friends, the Philadelphia Blues, the Philly Blues, 7 p.m. that evening at Tir Nog, which is going to be a really, really great time. It's the London's Blue live event brought to you by Mick Ultra, which we're excited to present again too. Any final thoughts on this match before we kind of break? We get out of Atlanta. We get back to New York City for a couple days before we head to Philly. thoughts, feelings, opinions as we transition out of this one?
No, again, I think there's a lot you can take out of a match like this, and I think the team is kind of on a set trajectory now. So take that for what it is. I do hope that the team plays better against Flamengo, because I think Flamengo's much better than the LAFC. So that is kind of the thing that I'm looking for. But cannot wait to get to Philadelphia. Cannot wait to have an Angelo's cheesesteak for the first time.
It's a great sandwich.
Apparently, our boy Barat was saying the best wings in all of America in Philadelphia.
Wow.
And he's a Buffalo Bills fan. So look, if you want some good food, Philadelphia, man, they do cook, as the kids say. But yeah, thank you to Atlanta. Looking forward to Philadelphia. It's been a fun few days. We are a little worse for wear at 11 o'clock on Monday.
Talk for yourself.
Monday night, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we really appreciate everybody who came out. It was so nice to meet people who've listened for a year, for 3 years, for 10 years, for 11 years, depending upon how long.
Ardale Hall, what's up?
It's incredible to meet so many people. It was really, really fantastic. Also good to see our friends Naz and Ben out for a little bit after the game as well. But we hope you've enjoyed this. Again, we've got a couple more wonderful shows like this coming up over the next couple of weeks. But also, again, the transfer window's back open. We're going to have conversations with our friends, our journalist friends, about what's going on there. We're also going to be taking a look at scouting previews that we kind of have coming in mind for that as well, and plenty of Club World Cup content over the next couple of weeks too. But that's going to do it for this one. So last log out from Atlanta here before we head back to New York and then back to Philadelphia for another Chelsea match, another Chelsea summer. But until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.